Monster Hunter Rise, being the latest title in the Monster Hunter franchise, has sold over 12 million copies worldwide and is, in my opinion, a phenomenal game. That being said, it has quite a few problems that I want to address and talk about in this video. Now, if you guys weren't around when this game first released on the Nintendo Switch, Monster Hunter Rise actually released in a pretty unfinished state. Not only did we not have the ending of the story with the hub quests, but there was actually no Elder Dragon that you could hunt in the entire game besides Ibushi, which you could only hunt in a Rampage quest. So it is reasonable as to why so many Monster Hunter players, especially veterans, became disappointed with the game at first. That being said, Capcom and the Monster Hunter team did a phenomenal job maintaining and updating this game, giving us plenty of free title updates that added a ton of content to the game. So much so that players that are now first getting into Monster Hunter Rise have a plethora of content to go through, even without the Sunbreak expansion, which made Monster Hunter Rise one of my favorite Monster Hunter games in the entire series, in great part to its fantastic combat system. I also thought that Monster Hunter Rise in the base game and at the start of Sunbreak was a bit too easy. There weren't many challenging quests. However, with these title updates that we keep receiving, despite how increasingly more powerful our hunters become, the developers have managed to create some good difficulty in the game, making quests properly challenging while not feeling unfair or unfun. And this is true with the latest title update that we have received, title update number 4 for the Sunbreak expansion, which not only added Velkhana, the first monster that we have received in Sunbreak as part of a free title update that wasn't a subspecies or a variant, but we also got Risen Crimson Glow Valstrax, one of the most challenging hunts that we have had in Monster Hunter for a very long time. On top of the addition of the new Hunter loadout, a quality of life update to tile-layered armor with item and equipment loadouts, all in one single menu, as well as changes to the weapon and armor augment system, all of that combining with further expanding the endgame of anomaly investigations. It really is a lot for us to do and keep us entertained for a very long time. Velkhana is incredible in Sunbreak. I love what the developers did with this monster. It feels more agile and more powerful than it was in Iceborne while still maintaining that regal elegance that the monster has. They also made sure to add a proper Nova Bomb to this monster that, in my opinion, was pretty weak in Iceborne and one of the weakest arch-tempered monsters we ever got in Monster Hunter World. As for Velkhana's weapons, they look amazing just as they did in Iceborne. And of course, the armor set comes with the iconic skill Frostcraft, which adds an entire different system to the game, adding this meter that lets you deal increased damage up to 30% extra damage that goes down as you hit the monster and will recharge as you sheath the weapon. The developers also made sure to make the Velkhana weapons combo well together with the Velkhana armor set and the skill Frostcraft by making it so when you have these weapons equipped, the skill Frostcraft will recharge faster. I believe it's about 20 to 25%, but don't quote me on that. As for Risen Crimson Glow Valstrax, they did a fantastic job with him, making one of my favorite Elder Dragons even more powerful, even more agile. I love that his iconic dive move now has a second phase to it, the first one being where he's up in the air and he actually shoots down from the sky, and I believe that is a one-shot if you get hit. And then of course he has the follow-up move where he dives and comes crashing down. It's amazing, it caught me off guard when I first did this hunt, and I just want to see more monsters get this same treatment that this monster did. Of course, as with other title updates, we also got some decorations added to the game, which were previously only available as skills in armor sets. So most likely come title update number 5, the Frostcraft skill is going to be available as a decoration, which means that we're going to be extremely overpowered given how powerful this skill is. The only problem with Frostcraft currently being that it is tied to the Velkhana armor set, which is one of the weaker sets in my opinion. So once this skill is available as a decoration, it's going to be insane. Now, having sung all of these praises about Monster Hunter Rise, Sunbreak and its title updates and development process, My issues lie with a few different aspects. Firstly being the requirements for doing these quests. Now I don't want to talk too much about this as many other content creators have mentioned this in previous videos, but the requirement for the new content being Master Rank 160 I believe is just too much. I think that if you're a more casual player that doesn't play Monster Hunter Rise every day, it's going to take you a very long time to get here, and if at any point you ever took a break from Monster Hunter Rise and now you're trying to come back into the game, you're going to feel discouraged because there is such a big gap when it comes to Master Rank from where you stopped playing to now. And sure, there's this thing where if you have a friend that has Master Rank 160 or above, they themselves can host the quest for you. But if that's the case, then what's the point of having this requirement in the first place? Some people will say that this requirement is there so that some players don't go into online lobbies unprepared and end up carting 3 times in a row and just failing the hunt by themselves. My argument to that is, Master Rank or your Hunter Rank doesn't really mean anything, it's just how much you have grinded in the game, and if you don't want players to cart in your open lobbies, then maybe just play solo? I hope that doesn't sound too elitist, but no content in this game is designed to be played strictly for multiplayer. We don't have Call of the Wrath or anything of the sort in this game. Personally, I play through all of the content solo, very rarely do I go into multiplayer, because, well, it's just faster that way. I don't want to go through the risk of getting an AFK player or someone that doesn't play the game too well. I just rely on myself and my pelicos or sometimes the followers, and I think that the game's difficulty is appropriate to the point where, if you play the game enough, you're going to get through the content without any issues. Again, I hope I'm not sounding elitist or anything, I just don't see the reason as to why the Master Rank requirement is so high. So I'm going to ask everyone watching this video to comment down below what Master Rank you guys are at right now and how frequently do you play this game. Because I have a lot of casual friends that just stopped playing the game because these Master Rank requirements are so high and they don't feel the motivation to go through the grind to get to these Master Rank requirements to play the new content. And I hope you guys can see why I think that it would be reasonable for these requirements to be lower. I'm also not too big of a fan of the new expansions to the curio crafting augment systems for weapons and armor sets. I think that at this point it's gotten to Diablo levels of loot and RNG, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, it's just that I don't really like having this in Monster Hunter where, from the very start of the series, all the loot you got was essentially targeted. You know, if you want to get Rathalos materials to craft a Rathalos greatsword, you go hunt Rathalos. There is some RNG there, as each monster will have their own rare drops, but you are able to increase the drop rates of these specific items by doing things such as capturing the monster or cutting off its tail or breaking its wings. All of these things are listed in the Hunter notes, and the game gives you a lot of chances to be able to do this very easily and without repeating the quest too much. I don't think I ever had to hunt a monster more than 5 times to get its rare drop, which I think is a very fair rate. But if you want to get the perfect choreographed augments, you're going to need some serious RNG luck. Then again, given how powerful our hunters are as is, it's not like this system is meant to be something that you need to pursue after in order to become more powerful. It's like an added endgame system layer on top of what we already had. It's something that is just not my taste, but maybe you guys disagree with me, which is why I want to know how you guys feel about this. Personally, I love what we have been getting for Monster Hunter Rise and Sunbreak. I love how the community keeps growing, and a lot of people said that Monster Hunter Rise was never going to succeed, and the game hitting 12 million players worldwide is such a big achievement, especially considering that this is following up after Monster Hunter World, which was the big boom for the franchise, and how staggered the release for this game was. I think it's a huge accomplishment, and the fact that we keep getting these fantastic quality updates just means that the Monster Hunter team does care for the community and its players and wants to make this game as good as possible. I'll be back to making more guides and tier list videos and stuff of that sort, which I know some of you guys really want more of that, but I wanted to know how you guys feel about all of this content in Monster Hunter Rise, and if you are a new player, then these videos on screen may be something that you want to watch. My name is Dark Hero, thank you all so much for watching, and as always, happy hunting!